Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of night number 9 inside the Big Brother Season 27 house. A good Thursday to all of y'all. Eviction night tonight. Let's talk first about that. We've got the eviction. We've got Zay and Kelly and Amy all on the block tonight. One of them will be coming off after we have the blockbuster competition. Then the other two will be up for a vote. Amy seems probably likely to be safe against either one. The interesting vote is going to be if it comes down to Zay versus Kelly. If Amy wins the blockbuster, pulls herself off, we'll see what happens at that point in time. It does seem like it has turned into a bit of a Rachel versus Zay referendum. Yeah, Rachel's not on the block, but her stand-in Amy is her tightest connection, and it does seem like it's turned a little bit of a referendum, even more so after this evening. We'll talk about that in a second. Both of these, Kelly and Zay, have both said that they may be planning to call out Rachel tonight during the live show, during eviction speeches or afterwards as well. It could be an interesting Thursday night. And it turned out to be a very interesting Wednesday night as well. I was expecting to be a lot more campaigning, vote getting, all of that. And for the most part, it was. But we also had a big blow up between Zay and Rachel. It seemed destined to happen. Well, it happened, and we're going to be talking about that. Very, very interesting, these two matching up against each other. All right, let's talk about the feeds themselves because there's quite a bit to talk about. As always, with 17 people in the house, I've tried to go in and trim down to what I thought were the most pertinent conversations. There's just a lot of people talking. Now, fortunately, being Wednesday night, we did have people go to bed a little bit earlier than usual, which always helps a little bit, but we still have a lot to talk about. So let's do that. All right, first of all, let's talk about Riley. Riley has told Amy that she has his vote 100% guaranteed. He has her vote. I think he's told all three nominees that. Riley has not been really playing a lot of conversations and games about it, but he has told the nominees that, yeah, I got you. Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about me, man. We'll see which way his vote actually goes. Later, he told Kat, in fact, that he's voting however she votes. She said, well, we can discuss it later. He said, no, don't need that. Just tell me how you're going to vote, and I will vote in that direction. We're going to talk about the Riley Kat interaction here in just a second, because that's a very interesting little side situation we got developing there. All right, we do have Amy and Rachel talking about the fact that they just don't trust Zay. Well, imagine that. They don't trust Zay. They don't trust Kelly. They don't trust Keanu. And that they also need to take a shot at Jimmy as soon as possible. Target rich environment if either one of these two were to become HOH. So, yeah, we definitely know who they consider to be on the other side. All right, let's talk about a new alliance that's formed. Number 999 out of a lot. It seems like, but we do have a new alliance that's formed. It's called the Bond Alliance, after Bond, James Bond. The Bond Alliance, consisting of Lauren and Zach and Ava and Will and Adrian and Vince, talking about how they should vote, trying to vote together as a block if possible. Kind of like this alliance. We'll see if it goes anywhere, but they're wondering how they should vote, but not necessarily a lot of agreement or complete agreement. Ava is saying that she's going to vote to save Amy over anyone, and if Amy pulls herself off the block, that she would vote to save Zay over Kelly. So that's her ultimate goal, is to protect Amy at all costs. Will is saying that he would prefer to keep Zay over anyone, and if it comes down to it, he'd prefer to keep Amy over Kelly. So a little bit difference there. Zach is keeping Zay no matter what. And he says, as far as the other two, Amy and Kelly, kind of up in the air on that one. And then Lauren is saying, I don't know what I'm doing. And she also is realizing that she very well could be the swing vote on this thing. So, yes, they're an alliance. Yes, they have some different objectives, respectfully for each other. I mean, they're not getting upset at each other, but they aren't settled on a single block for the entire alliance. Still a lot up in the air. Lauren, again, is realizing that she's the swing vote, and I think she very well could be, depending on which two are left on the block this evening. All right, remember me mentioning Riley saying that he would vote however Kat votes? There's a lot more to the conversation they had. This was outside near the pool. During a couple, I think it may have been actually two different one-on-one conversations that Riley had with Kat. But Riley Oh, poor Riley. Riley told her that the feelings he has for her is worth more than $750,000. That he is willing to put blood on his hands for her. That he wants her to wake up every day in the house feeling safe every day because he is in there protecting her. He's his her knight in shining armor. He didn't say that, but he's going to be there to make sure she feels safe every single day. That he isn't even here for the $750,000 anymore. It's just to watch her win. That he's going to feel that way. He's going to feel the way he feels, and she's just going to have to accept that. No, no. Okay, Riley. That if he wins HOH, he's going to have his conversations outside the HOH room. The only person that's going to be allowed inside the HOH room is going to be Kat herself. Don't go in, Kat. You may not be able to get back out. But yeah, he definitely is. We'll just call it smitten. It sounds like the right word, right? This guy, Riley, very much giving me beast mode cowboy vibes from back at season 16 when Caleb beast mode had very strong feelings for Amber during that season. Riley is again very smitten with Kat at this point in time. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. If I'm Kat, on the one hand, I guess I'm grateful I got someone that's willing to throw themselves on the sword for you and take care of you and do whatever is possible. But as we saw back in season 16 with Amber, sometimes that kind of focus and dedication can actually hinder your own gameplay. Not sure that Kat's quite as much into Riley as Riley seems to be into Kat, but we'll see how it develops. But Riley definitely has new goals and objectives that don't depend upon him getting to the final two at the end at this point in time. Very interesting. Very, dare I say, a little creepy. But we'll see what happens. All right, we've got Kelly doing a little campaigning. She's saying, talking to Jimmy. Jimmy's saying he'll save her against either of the other two nominees. Now, remember, Rachel had said that, and Amy, that we got to go after Jimmy first. So I guess they're recognizing that they may not have the loyalty that they were hoping they would have from Jimmy, because here he is saying that he'll save Kelly against either one of them, including Amy. All right, we've got Zay doing some campaigning as well. Zay is telling Ashley in a long conversation. They were up in the HOH room for a long period of time. But the key parts of it, he's telling Ashley that if she votes for him to stay, she definitely is not going to go on the block if he becomes HOH. And that he is gunning for it. And there is a reasonable chance that he could get HOH. And as long as she votes for him, he is not coming after her at all, which is more than Kelly was able to offer when she talked to Ashley. So point for Zay there. But he also told her that he would not put up Keanu. That's not his goal if he was to get HOH. And that's what I think Ashley would kind of like to hear. He's not willing to make that level of deal, that level of commitment. So that kind of influences to his detriment, his conversation with her, I think. Zay is proposing, though, he's saying, look, I know we're on different sides right now, and that's okay. We could still work together. We could make this thing happen. We'll work from different sides, but we'll still watch out for each other. Ashley seems interested, at least when she's talking to him about it. She says, look, I'm like 90% leaning towards saving you and working together. That it's not necessarily my objective. My objective isn't necessarily the same as some of the other ladies in this house. And that, yes, I'm willing to consider it, and I think we could do some stuff together. There may not be as solid of a block to get out Zay as perhaps Rachel and Amy are thinking. Riley is telling Adrian that he'll vote like Adrian, even if it's against the majority. He says, hey, bro, you want to go against the majority? I'll go against the majority. I'll be right there with you. So he's going to rely on how Kat votes. He's going to rely on how Adrian votes. We'll see which way Riley ends up voting on this thing. Both of them are talking about Rachel being a snake in the house. We're hearing a lot of people call a lot of folks snakes, but saying Rachel is very much a snake in the house. All right, we've got Kat talking to Adrian. She's telling Adrian that Zay isn't getting her vote no matter what. She's not voting to save that guy. Adrian is saying that Amy won't get her vote in any situation. That he promised his vote to Kelly, and that he's just not really feeling like he's going to backtrack from that. So These two not necessarily voting the same way either, but they seem okay and not thinking the others should have to vote as they vote. But it's a little different voting there. All right, we've got Ava telling Will that Amy likely has the votes to stay, and she calls out or mentions Rachel and Mickey and Jimmy, Kat, Ashley, Will, Morgan, and herself. That's 8 votes, as they point out. But Will says, well, if I vote to save Zay, it could be 7, and then it comes to a tiebreaker that Vince will have to decide. So Will's letting Ava know that I'm with you, but I'm not saying I'm 100% voting against Zay and for Amy if it comes down to that situation. All right, we've got Mickey talking to Ava. They're saying that they're going to keep Mickey's telling Ava, both of them are agreeing, they're going to keep Amy at all cost, and they're going to keep Kelly if it comes down to her against Zay. So that's kind of the pecking order. Amy priority, Kelly second, and then Zay at the bottom has to go. This is from Mickey and Ava. All right, we've got Lauren and Vince talking. They think Lauren could be the swing vote, as Lauren had mentioned before. Vince is wondering if Lauren is maybe voting out Zay just because of the girls group and gender worries and all of that. Lauren saying that could be part of it, but she really thinks that Kat just thinks it's a good time to get Zay out, who she sees as a threat. Vince is saying, well, perhaps, but it's also a good chance to weaken Rachel, who's also a threat. And Lauren is not disagreeing with him. Vince is saying that he might vote to save Zay over Amy. And he also is not real happy with Rachel. He said at one point he says Rachel yelled at him. Then later he says, well, maybe she didn't yell, but she definitely was very high energy voice, very high level voice. That Rachel yelled at him, said that he was having the worst HOH in Big Brother history. That's quite a low hurdle to try to achieve. But she's saying she told him that he was going to have the worst HOH in Big Brother history, and he will look like an idiot if he sends Amy home at this point in time. And Vince continues with the conversation on that, saying, I just seem kind of bullying, and I was bullied as a kid. It just doesn't sit well with me at this point in time. So Vince and Rachel not necessarily on the same note here, and he's letting Lauren know that. Eventually, as they continue the conversation, Vince and Lauren now have a final 2. Yes, another final 2. I don't remember. I don't think that had been generated before. It didn't seem like it as they talk. So now these two are going to ride or die to the end with each other. They're talking about both of them trusting Zach very much. They want to bring him as a final 3. Now, I do believe Zach and Lauren and Vince already kind of were set up as a final 3, but now we've got these two basically saying, yeah, Vince will be the third wheel. We're going to be the 2 sitting in the chairs at the end of the season. All right, we've got Zay and Keanu talking. Zay is saying that he might call out Rachel during the live show. Kelly's already said that she may do it as well. Keanu is telling Zay, saying, look, it doesn't matter. You're already going to be their target, whether you call her out or not. So, if you want to do it, if you feel like it, go for it, since you're already going to be a target. Zay is saying that he heard that Keanu is likely a nominee if Rachel was to get HOH, which I'm not sure Keanu really would expect that to be the case, considering he's been trying to work with Rachel, personal trainer and all that. Well, a lot of that stuff kind of falls by the wayside by the time we get through it this evening. All right, we've got Jimmy and Mickey talking. They're agreeing that if they don't vote out Zay now, he might not see the block again. That he's only going to get stronger going forward. And so they're definitely both thinking that this needs to be the time when Zay heads out the door. Of course, that's all dependent upon him not winning the block buster competition tonight. Oh, it's going to be a great Thursday night show. All right. Keanu is telling Rachel that he's voting out Zay no matter what, which is what Rachel wants to hear. Conversation starts off good, quickly falls from here. He said, yeah, I'm voting out Zay. I've told you that I'll vote out Zay no matter who he's up against. But Rachel also wants to try to get Keanu to vote out Zay if Zay survives tonight and Keanu was to get on HOH. She wants Keanu to go ahead and commit to putting Zay on the block at that point in time. Zay doesn't really want to do that. And so Rachel's trying to get him a little bit riled up by saying, look, don't you, that he was trying to get you on the block, Keanu. Zay wanted you on the block So why wouldn't you put him up if you had a chance at HOH? And Keanu is just saying, I don't care. A couple of days ago, whatever, it just doesn't necessarily work for me. He says Zay is a huge shield. No one likes Zay. Why would I put him up? He's a huge shield for me right now. So I just don't know that's in my best interest to put him up. Rachel does not like hearing that. She's trying to convince them. She keeps just trying to convince them that Zay is very much against them, and Keanu's just not buying it. For an alliance, Rachel and Keanu are just don't really seem to be getting along as you would expect them to, and it doesn't get any better through the rest of the evening. Rachel keeps saying to Keanu, saying, "Look, do you not trust me? Why don't you trust me? Are you saying that I'm lying?" And trying to kind of push Keanu into a place that Keanu doesn't want to go. And so just a whole lot of that conversation. If we're working together, why wouldn't you trust me? Why do you think I'm lying? And conversation didn't go anywhere good after they started this thing. Almost immediately after, Keanu goes in the backyard, is talking to Zay out in the little patio area. Keanu is telling Zay about what Rachel had said just a little bit earlier. And they basically sound like they've quashed their beef. They're both saying, yeah, that's a couple of days ago. Zay says, look, a couple of days ago, yeah, I probably didn't really trust you 100%. And yeah, I probably would have preferred to have you on the block as opposed to me. And yeah, so a lot of conversations. But at the end, it seems like they're both kind of saying, "Hey, dude, it's water under the bridge. No big deal. We're tight with each other. We're good." So it seems like they have done damage control. They're solid with each other. And then Rachel comes over, says, "What are y'all talking about? Well, what's going on here?" And they don't hesitate to say, Zay, I think's the one that says, I was talking to Keanu. He was telling me about the conversation that the two of y'all just had, and we're trying to get our stuff settled and make sure we're okay with each other, which is not what Rachel wants. She wants just the opposite. So she is not happy. Eventually, Rachel says something about, I think Zay may have said something like, I'm competing for HOH coming up. I'm definitely going to do what I can to win it. And Rachel says, well, I'm gunning for HOH as well. And Zay, you will be my target if I win this thing. And Zay comes back and says, well, is it okay? I understand. And she says, well, why would I not target you since you just said you're going to target me? And Zay may have said, I didn't say I was going to target you. I just said anyone who didn't vote for me would be part of the pool of people that I would potentially target. But I didn't say you specifically, Rachel. But now you're saying you're definitely going to target me. And she said, yeah, I think so. And Zay is trying to play a very logical discussion with her, saying, wouldn't it be logical for me to go after the people who didn't support me, who didn't vote for me? I mean, are you saying that's bad gameplay, Rachel? She at that point stands up and says, I'd be careful coming for the queen. You will get beheaded. And then she walks off. Yeah, she got a little soundbite at that point in time. This actually seems to be pulling Keanu and Zay closer together as she says that and then walks off, because they're at the end. Zay saying, "See, I told you, dude. I told you she's trying to mislead you," and Keanu saying the same thing. So definitely, I think it's pulled them a little bit closer together. Rachel got her soundbite, but I feel like Zay won the first part of this little battle here. Later, Rachel tells Zay they're up on the upper balcony outside the HOH room. Rachel tells Zay, game on. I think Zay was trying to explain himself a little bit more. And she said, you come after me, I'm coming after you. Game on. Zay at this point says, I'm not scared. Yeah, game on. It's fine. We'll see how it works out. And then it just gets worse and worse. As she's walking away, Zay tells her, says, as long as I'm in the house, there's no way you're going to win a second season. Rachel responds, says, you want to act like a child and try and come for me. I hope you can back up what you're doing. And also, if you're going to come for me, wait till I'm in a gown. So soundbite number 2. And that is the discussion, as basically she heads downstairs, he heads upstairs. At that point, Zay stays upstairs in that upper lounge, and he's explaining how everything went down to Lauren and Kat and Zach and Ashley. I think they were up there. Rachel, meanwhile, is in the storage room telling Riley and Morgan and Ava that Zay came out of nowhere and was attacking her, and she doesn't know what happened. He just blew up on her and all of that. Here's the issue. I think these two are just arguing different points. Neither one's necessarily wrong. Zay is trying to argue from a logical point of, why are you acting like I did something wrong? It makes sense that I would go after those who didn't vote for me. So he's very much trying to do a argument based on logic. Rachel recognizing that in the game of Big Brother, sometimes it isn't about logic; it's about perception. It doesn't matter whether what he did was logical or illogical. It's all about getting people fired up and how people see you being portrayed. And from Rachel's standpoint, showing probably putting a little fear into some people of, hey, if I try to do something with Rachel, she's going to call me out right there. And so again, logic versus perception, two different viewpoints from these two. I think that's leading to a lot of this, and just they're on different sides. But so Zay and Rachel both trying to spin the story a little bit to their direction. It doesn't end there. Rachel comes out. There, Zay is still upstairs. They start jawing at each other again. Rachel, some of her comments to Zay is, "Mommy will make a sandwich for you later. You want a bedtime, sleepy time, baby." And Zay comes back and says, "Just so you know, it's no big deal. I won't personally attack you back, no matter what you said." And she says at one point, "I've heard worse from better." Which is a line that she and Jimmy had talked about a day or two ago. So she got to use it a lot faster than she probably anticipated. Zay is accusing her of trying to make good TV and saying that she's just scrambling for votes. Rachel's response back to him is, "You do know you're on the block, right?" He says, "Yes, I do know, and if I also know that if I go home, your chances at winning go way up." This is in front of everyone, so that little statement is not intended for Rachel. That's intended for everyone else. That, hey, yes, you send me out the door, and Rachel just gets that much stronger. You may want to think about that before you just hand the title to the queen here. So yeah, they're going back and forth for a while. Eventually, Zay offers a one-on-one with Rachel, and she's kind of cornered into saying sure. She's, "I don't think it'll help, but sure." So they go into the storage room. Zay's still trying to explain why nothing he said is illogical. He accuses her of playing a victim mentality. She says, "No, I'm not, sweetie. You're about to be a victim." Rachel eventually says, "Look, I'm bored. This is not going anywhere." And he said, "Well, if you're bored, if you don't even want to discuss it, if you're bored, I'm not holding you hostage." And so, it is what it is. So at that point, she heads out. As she's walking out, he says, "But are you really bored, or you're just tired of me bringing up logical points?" So, yeah, we didn't think it was all going to be hunky dory. They weren't going to come out hugging each other, saying "kumbayas." No, they're still very much targeting each other, and we definitely are going to see some people gunning for HOH tonight, which I always want to see. So a lot of that going on later. Keanu tried to talk to Rachel, offered her a fist bump. She was less than receptive to it. As she's walking away, he said, "Why are you mad at me?" When someone tells you that kind of stuff, and then you go tell the person that she's opposed to, sometimes that happens, Keanu. So yeah, not a real good relationship builder between Keanu and Rachel either. All right, we've got Ava and Lauren and Kat and Rachel at the whirlpool. The other ladies are kind of trying to soothe and take care of Rachel. She says, "Hey, look, here's the deal. He's just a 23-year-old little boy, and he just is striking out and all of that." So, yeah, it's quite the evening going on. Lauren and Ashley are talking, getting away from the argument. Really, after that, everyone was just, by then, everyone's saying, "Oh, let's just go to bed." We've had the drama for the evening, but we had a couple of quick little conversations. Lauren and Ashley are talking. Ashley thinks that there are 9 votes to keep Kelly over Zay at this point in time, or over Kelly to vote. Yeah, to keep Kelly over Zay. Ashley at one point is talking to the camera. She's saying, "Look, the tables have turned in my favor. I hope that Lauren votes for and ends up saving Amy. That would be perfect." Later, actually, this is previously, she had told Morgan that she didn't even think they needed Lauren's vote. Morgan had told Ashley during that earlier conversation that Rachel will go after anyone who didn't vote to save Amy. So again, no, Rachel's not on the block, but Amy is, and Rachel's taking it very personally, that an attack on Amy is an attack on me, and vice versa. The battle lines have been drawn, and not all the house guests have declared for one side or another. We've still got people who haven't quite decided how it's going to be. A lot more indecision because we've got three people on the block, and we still don't know who those final two votes are going to be. Final two votes are going to say a lot. Now, here's the beauty: you're going to have these votes announced, and unless they change it this year, which I don't expect, we don't know who voted for who. I expect there's going to be some finger point about saying, well, you said you were going to vote to save this person, but I think you didn't. And that person say, oh, no, I did. Maybe you changed your vote. No one's going to really know for certain. There'll be a lot of discussions, I think, after the vote tonight. All right, so we've got that. We also had Vince alone in the backyard. He thinks, after all is said and done, he thinks that Zay's only chance is probably to win the blockbuster competition, and there's at least a 1 in 3. I would dare say he's got a little better chance than that even. He thinks that Zay's only chance is winning blockbuster. He would perhaps like Zay to win because Zay would be an incredible shield for Vince. Zay knows that, or Vince knows that as long as Zay's in this house, the other side's going to be targeting Zay much more than Vince, and Vince is a little bit worried about that. So they certainly are. He's worried about that, and I think hoping that Zay maybe can ride this thing out and survive. Finally, about 4 o'clock, Big Brother time. Vince takes forever to get ready for bed. Maybe he's just contemplating his last night as HOH, but he's walking around, clipping nose hairs, doing everything. Finally, he calls it a night, gets in bed. Jimmy's in bed. Jimmy's up, sleeping up there, has a face mask on and all that, but Jimmy's in bed. Vince is in bed, 4 o'clock plus or minus. They finally call it a night. And there you go, guys. So a lot of campaigning, vote counting, and things like we've seen for the past few days. And then Zay and Rachel just blow the whole house up. At one point, Zay says, look, Rachel, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you're just trying to make for good TV or I'm not explaining myself well. And they definitely made for good TV. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch how it's portrayed on the episode itself. It's going to be very interesting to see how it carries over in tonight's vote. I will say this, on Thursday nights, the whole house is locked up into the HOH room for periods of time while production's getting ready for the live show and all of that. That could be a very frosty HOH room with 16 people in, knowing that some of the people just are not seeming to like each other. So it's going to be a very tense Thursday. Really looking forward to the episode this evening. Hopefully we get to see the HOH competition. We get to see who won it before they pull away. I'll be counting on it. But if not, I'll be watching overnight as well. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll give you the update on not just who's gone, but who's HOH, who's called out who's blaming each other on votes. There'll be a lot to unfold tomorrow morning. So check in. I'll be there. Until then, guys, y'all have a fantastic Thursday. Enjoy tonight's show. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.